I just saw him in the locker room and spoke with him briefly, and I'm not optimistic, but obviously the medical people will do their examinations and let us know the official results. And you guys know we can't release a whole lot of information, but normally when they get hurt on the other sideline and take them into the locker room without bringing them back to our sideline, that's not usually a good sign. So we'll wait and see what the doctors say.
Is that why you're not optimistic?
That's why I'm not optimistic, because when they take them in from the other sideline, it's usually an indication that they think there might be something really wrong. So we'll see where it's at.
Danny, can you tell us how his spirits were when you talked to him?
He was down, we just talked briefly is all.
Robert appeared to suffer some sort of shoulder mishap. I mean, he still came back in the game.
Robert Marv?
Yeah, and Jason Werner limped off. I mean, you had a few guys get nicked up today.
We had a lot of guys get banged up, and that's unfortunate. I don't know how many of them will be serious. We had Brandon Taylor, was injured earlier in the game on a chop block. There was a penalty thrown on it, so the officials were on top of it, but it's still a nasty block, and I don't know what his status is. We'll have to wait and see. I think most of the guys that got nicked up, I'm optimistic about the majority of them, but again, we'll see.
That just kind of put a little bit of a damper on this victory?
No, I mean, anytime somebody gets injured, it's a concern. We care about our guys. Them being happy and healthy and being a part of what we got going on. So anytime a guy gets injured, it's a bad feeling, win or lose. It doesn't put a damper on the victory. We won. It's the same win or lose when somebody gets hurt. They're family. It's like watching your family get hurt.
Durkin had his first 100-yard game tonight. Talk about the strides he's made and how he contributed tonight.
I think he's been the same type of player all along. There's been some injuries, at the running back position. We lost a couple of really good, very talented players, obviously with Ralph and Keith Carlos, and Danny has certainly seized the moment, if you will, and then cashed in on his opportunities. But I've always thought he's a heck of a football player, and I've always thought he was our best, all-around running back at all the little things that you want to do. He's probably the best we have from a ball security standpoint. He really developed a lot the last couple of years as a receiver out of the backfield, and even though he's not the biggest of the bunch, he's got some buzzsaw to him as far as the blocking back out of the backfield. He will saw him down and fit up on him, on the blitzers. And very, very smart. He doesn't make any mistakes, and then he does well on special teams too. So really proud of him, and it's great to see a guy that has gone out there every year and laid it on the line to have the success that he's having. Certainly proud of him and very happy that he's being all he can be this year. He's really important to us. A good leader, leads by example, and he certainly leads on Saturdays.
Danny, the way the game started slow in the first half, and then you finished the half strong. Talk about that.
Well, I think right now, as a football team, position by position, we really lack some continuity, and that's the thing that we're trying to. We had mentioned last week that how important the next 3 or 4 weeks were, as far as us growing up as a football team. We lack continuity, and a lot of that has to do with a lot of new faces and a lot of new people. We practice really well as a football team. Right now we practice maybe sometimes a little bit better than we play, and I think they're more comfortable. At practice. A lot of new people. I look out there, again today, and we run a couple young, brand new guys off, and we run a couple brand new guys in there to replace them. But we lack some continuity. At some positions, we're still not really sure who our best players are. There's some good and bad to that. The good part is that we have some really talented young guys. The bad part of that is that it's hard to create continuity when you're rolling people in and out of the lineup in practice and on Saturdays as well, personnel and grouping wise. So, again, these next 2 games in open week are so important to our football team for us to continue to grow and develop, and certainly to start to build some of that continuity. But I feel that we lack some continuity as a football team at almost every position. There's not much difference between the 1s and the 2s in the secondary, so sometimes we rolling guys in and out. The same thing with our young defensive linemen. We have 3 or 4 brand new defensive linemen that haven't played at all, and we're rolling them in and rolling them out. And the same is happening some at the receiver spot. Some of these young, outstanding recruits, are playmakers, and they're starting to surface some, and they're challenging for playing time. But at the same time, it creates some lack of continuity. That's something that we have to get a handle on here in the next couple of weeks. I'm still very optimistic about our football team. We have to play better at each spot from a consistency of execution. We still are behind from a degree of excellence, if you will. Consistency, we're still behind. We have to play more consistent at the quarterback spot, and I think both of our quarterbacks played really hard and did a lot of good things, but we're not near as consistent as we need to be at that position right now also, and then that can slow down all of your football team. So continuity, I think, the lack of continuity right now is what I see from our football team. I see a group of guys that are great try-hard guys and work really hard in practice and lay it on the line, but we're young and inexperienced still in a lot of areas.
I think they only had one. I think they only had one first down in the third quarter. Can you just kind of talk about the job you guys did defensively during that important stretch of the game?
Well, I think when we got a lead and they had to become more one-dimensional, and then we can be a little more assertive with our defensive calls and lay our ears back and go get them some. And I think we saw that some last week in the Notre Dame game when they were in position where they felt like Notre Dame was going to run the ball. I thought we played pretty strong on defense, and then today when we thought our opponent was going to have to pass the football, I think we made some calls and got after him with the blitz some. So obviously we have to be able to execute regardless where we're at in the game, point spread wise. But I think that when we have an idea of what we're calling and what it's for, we play better on defense rather than calling a defensive call and not sure whether or not we're going to have a run or a pass. It creates a little bit of apprehension on our part.
It seemed like that time. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Again, it's the continuity thing. That's what I see. I see a lack of some continuity out there on the field.
It seemed like at times, Western Illinois was trying to avoid Kerrigan, and he ended up having 12 tackles tonight. Talk a little bit about his performance on defense.
Well, he's a great player, and there'll be few guys that'll singly line up and slow him down. Even though he's been held a lot the last 2 ball games, he's still a great player, whether they hold him or not. So we're not surprised to see him, stacking up the numbers. We talk to our team, about keys to victory and the things that we have to do in order to be in position to win and to play well. And then, obviously coming into this game, we knew a lot about this football team. We had film on them. Know a lot about the guys that they have on their team from a personnel standpoint. Familiar with those guys in the recruiting process. And some of those guys are guys that we at one time had recruited here at Purdue and maybe moved on somewhere else. But I knew coming into the game they were going to make some plays. And I felt like when the game was close there that we weren't as reckless and as wide open as we needed to be, that we were playing a little bit cautious, on both sides of the ball. And that's one of our objectives or goals of this season, is to lay it back and be more wide open on a consistent basis. And I felt that early in the game when it was close that we were a little bit tight, and we weren't as wide open, as reckless as we needed to be. And as the game went on, and again once we got more comfortable, I thought we laid our ears back and got after them pretty good.
Danny, Altaric's touchdown, your vantage point, how good of an effort was that by number 5?
I think it was a great effort on Altaric's part. Again, it's another position that we're still lacking some continuity at, trying to figure out who our best ball carriers are going to be. And Altaric has been injured some. We got a chance to get him some reps early in the game, and then came in at halftime and talked and figured that we had to get him the ball more. He's a playmaker for us. He's fast. He can make people miss. He's done a good job blocking in practice the last 4 or 5 practices that we've had. So we have more confidence in him now. He just has to continue working hard and continue improving so he can work himself into the lineup. It's a little bit different than what a lot of you might assume, where a guy's the number 1 back. Sometimes we have groupings, personnel groupings, and certain guys go with certain groupings, and we take the certain groupings sometimes and we work certain plays. Well, he's missed some time, so we're trying to get him back involved in certain groupings. The better he does, the more groupings he'll get back involved in. And right now, Danny's our most reliable running back, so he's in more groupings, so he gets in the game more. But the better Altaric does, the more groupings he'll get involved in, and obviously he's a playmaker, and very proud of what he got done today.
OJ Ross had some catches today, and Considering the injuries, how prepared do you feel he is to maybe take an expanded role in the upcoming weeks?
Well, he's already taken an expanded role, starting today. He played just a little bit last week, and he's very fast. Loves to play football. He's a physical player. When he carries the ball, he's not that easy to bring down. Even though he's only a freshman, he's got some strength about him, some girth to his build, and he has very legitimate speed. He's sure-handed most of the time, and seems like he's somebody that you can trust when you put him out there to do what you've instructed him to do. So I certainly see his role increasing, and it increased a lot today. Regardless of any injuries, we were planning on playing O.J. Ross even more today, and we did. He's a good player.
What about the kick return game with him? Is that something you see him maybe taking over that #1 role? Or?
We're going to work him in and out of that spot some. Again, with us being so short-handed at the running back spot, we might want to rotate him and Al Tariq some. They're both very good kick return guys, and we want to start off with good field position. That's a major difference maker in how many points you score as far as where you start the drives off at. So we want to do very well kickoff return wise, and I thought we did today. We opened some holes and had some solid returns, but you can expect to see both of those guys back there at the kickoff return spot as of now. Okay.
Did it mean a lot to see Justin Stiller score a touchdown, knowing what he's done to come back into the program and to get back into the fold?
Now, we're excited for Justin, and obviously excited to see him make a big play and to score a touchdown. Again, it's a work in progress. He missed a lot of football. He missed all of last season and all of last spring, and he wasn't available to come around and get workouts with his teammates or in the weight room or any of that until the summertime came. So I'm pleased. He's really his game has come back around a lot faster than a lot of guys that sit out for that long, but he's still not 100% of what he can do. I don't know that there's anybody on a football team right now that can't improve significantly day to day, week to week, and he's one of them. He's one, Al Tariq's one, Robert Marr's one. Every one of those guys out there just about on a football team can make significant improvement from day to day and from week to week. And that's something that we're going to have to do.
Dan, you talked about a lot of young guys, like last week, growing up. You see them growing up during the game, and these guys, a lot of these guys you're playing that are growing up, they won for the first time today, and they contributed. Does that speed up the growth process of a young player when they can finally look as a result of the victory?
Absolutely. Success breeds success, and a win today is huge for our football team and huge for those young guys. We played Eric McDaniel today. He hasn't played yet. When we lost Brandon Taylor to the chop block, we ran another guy in there that was brand new to the game, and he did a pretty good job. But again, I keep looking out there on the field in critical situations, and I see a lot of freshmen, a lot of talented freshmen. So that's a good thing. But we have some growing up to do still. I'm still very, very encouraged. But, we got to win today. People think that we should, beat a team like this by 100, and that's just not the way it goes. They have good players too. They have 63 scholarships. We have 85. So they have some good players too.
Danny, is your optimism challenged, I guess, when star players go down? You've had to deal with Ralph going down, and now Keith. How difficult maybe is it for you and your coaching staff to remain upbeat and optimistic? Do you ever feel, hey, we're snake bit, that kind of thing?
No, absolutely not. And it's never going to be that way. We've been in this business for a long time, and we've had a lot of hard knocks along the way, and there's not anything that can ever happen out there that will break my spirit or the spirit of this coaching staff of this football team. It's very unfortunate that we've lost Ralph Bolden, maybe for the season. That's unfortunate. We don't know what's going to happen with Keith Carlos. We don't know what's going to happen with Keith Smith. But you have to move on. You have to get the other guys ready to play. That's why we recruit. That's why we work 80 to 100 hours a week. That's why we go at it hard all the time. Always working hard to bring in the next good player to develop and get ready to play.
Take one more if there is one. Anybody?
Was Albert Evans, was he just dinged up on that near the end of the game when he came off the field, or is there any reason to think that's anything serious?
I don't think it's anything serious. I saw him after the game and asked him how it was, and he said he was fine, and shook his hand and hugged him up, and he didn't flinch or anything like that. So I guess he's okay. But thanks for asking about it.
Thanks, guys.